Because of previous administration and state funding issues, Chicago State has been portrayed negatively in the media for the past few years. Though it has finally gotten new administration and leadership, many around Chicago still hold the idea that Chicago State is closed or at risk of closure. As individuals who have witnessed the struggles firsthand, it's up to us, the students and faculty, to start changing that message and create a new conversation.
Well, the underlying issue for us, that the reason that we were in the news more so than anybody else, even with the financial exigency when we weren't even the worst, is because we're predominantly black and brown. And anytime you have any institution in this country that's predominantly black and brown, people think is inferior to other institutions. And that's something that really needs to is an ongoing problem in America. That really needs to be dealt with. People always talk about having a national conversation about race. We have never had one. We've never gotten serious about it. But the reason that we've been in front and center on the news is because we're on the far south side and we're predominantly black and brown. And if we were not, we wouldn't have been on the front page of the news as much as we were. That does not negate the fact that we were beset by poor leadership.
So when that administration left, they didn't leave anything other than us struggling financially. Over the years, CSU has always advocated for education for all people. And so even though the population shifted over the years from white immigrants to black African Americans to Latino to working class white people, our idea that education for all is democratic, it is empowering, it means that education is an important, it's capital for people. So you can move up economically in the world, be able to provide for your family and make a change in the world. So I think all of the faculty here believe in that. We wouldn't be here otherwise.
And I say the students are a strength because students come from a variety of backgrounds. And many of our students are non-traditional. Many of our students work. Many of them come from backgrounds that have been very challenging, which really is an asset, I think, for people coming to college and going into the workforce because they've been through things, they lived through things. So I think the experiences that our students have had make them they already come in with a certain type of education. And I think that we can just add a little to that. So our students are a strength.
I think our student population, I think the diversity here gives students a unique opportunity, especially if they're not from places around here, to experience something that's new, or not necessarily new, but something that's a little bit different. It's a different orient of perspective that I don't think that I would have gotten if I would have stayed like where I came from, like in North Dakota or anything like that.
So if our students initially came from a school system where their education was poor, right? They didn't have a good foundation. They're able to recoup what they lost in those years and move ahead, prepare them. So that's what we do well here. And I think that's what we're successful at. We can take students for whatever reason. Sometimes it's not economic. Sometimes they don't feel comfortable at the school where they were. And they're not doing well because of the culture of that school. And when they come here, they're able to be very successful because they have the mentors, because they have that closeness of a community. So I think we do well. We take students who may think of themselves as unsuccessful or may not have been successful in other places and other areas, and we make those students are successful. They go out into the world, they change the world. I also think that how small we are is a benefit. That we're able to have smaller classes to actually get to know our students really well. We don't teach in a big lecture hall with 150 students. I know my 12 students in African American literature. I've gotten to know them as people. I know what their strong points are, I can even imagine what they're doing in the future. And so then I become a mentor and invested in their lives.
That is probably one of the biggest strengths that we have here. Classroom sizes can be really challenging at larger universities, like if you're in a comp class and there's 200 people in a lecture hall, things like that. Whereas here, class sizes are a lot smaller, so you get to know your teachers, you get to know your professors. They know you on a first name basis as opposed to a name on a paper. And students get to know each other as well, because as you progress up farther into your degree path, you get really close with the other students that you're in most of your classes with. You learn to build relationships that way, and you keep having the same professors over and over again, so you know what they expect and you know how to progress, as opposed to having to learn something totally new over again every single semester because your teacher wants something different.
Contrary to some opinions, we have high standards for our students. It's important to me that a student walks out of my class and remembers what they learn, and also have the skills. So when I'm teaching writing, I want them to have those skills. And when you are able to be almost one-on-one with students, they have a tendency to remember better, to want to do better. And so all of those work hand in hand to, as you say, create this community of activists, because the root of activists is to act, to do. And so what we do is teach. What our students do is learn and teach. And so it's each one teach one. It goes on and on. But at our core, we believe in the value of every student and the potential of every student.
It takes some time to really get students to really be engaged and involved like that. I think it happens at times, but not consistently enough. But I think with students such as yourself and other students that in time will get going in the right direction, where it's more consistent and more vibrant service and activism from the student body. The one good thing about the financial crisis that we had was that really got students fired up, and we had students get involved and shut down the highway and go to Springfield, and Chicago State students really were the leading students in Illinois to push the legislature to get the budget passed. So, we're all very proud of the students, what they did with that.
The more people we spread the word to that CSU is a campus that is all about inclusivity and basically preparing us for a future where things might not always be easy, things might not always be equal. The university's struggles have shown us that the real world really has some strong implications depending on where you're at and what's going on, and I think that's helped the student population understand the value of their degree from such a university that has continued to thrive despite the administrative setbacks.
I think our new president understands that she understands the history of the school, and I think she understands our population, and this is what I'm feeling now, is not trying to make us be something that we are not. She's trying to take the stories that we have that are successful and share them with the rest of the world. So if we have people who went to school here who are successful writers and professors and attorneys and teachers and accountants, she wants to spread the word that these are the folks that attended CSU. These are the folks who graduated. The CEO of Chicago Public Schools graduated from Chicago State. So not only are our students, the stories of our students who are doing well locally, but nationally and internationally.